Ever record a full band in a small room and you think, man, this sounds boxy and small. It's like it's missing that air. Well, guess what? This new plugin literally puts you inside the rooms where legends like Sinatra, the Beach Boys, and Radiohead recorded. Oh yeah, baby. Ocean Way Studios Deluxe. It's a brand new update from one of my favorite plugins of all time from Universal Audio. And it's fully native, so you don't need any of the hardware. Today, I'm showing you how to use it across my song Backbone Lover to turn a home recording, which I recorded in multiple locations, into a cohesive multi-million-dollar studio sound. And when Universal Audio reached out to see if I was interested in checking the plugin out, I asked a simple question back. Does a bear shit in the woods? Let's dive right in.
I could never do this on my own. Me, you, when I get home, baby. Oh, I could never do this on my own. Me, you, when I get home, baby.
All right, as you can hear, it takes it from dry to super three-dimensional. And the way it's doing it is not through a snapshot. We are not doing an impulse response, reverb sort of thing, okay? This is a 3D modeled algorithmically, like calculating every little thing that's happening. And the different microphone positions, this is really where the magic is. So you're actually getting these microphones in this position, remiking or giving you the reverb mode. And that's what I'm using on these drums, and I want to break that down first. And then I'm going to give you an overview of the plugin itself, like show you all the cool new features, the stuff I'm using throughout this mix. On the vocals, the horns, the drums, the bass, and reamping on the guitars. Just unbelievable plugin that's going to give you a lot of really cool game, especially if you're recording in a small room or a project studio, and you just don't have these room tones, these multi-million-dollar room tones, right? So let's get into the drums. This is what's going on. We got Studio A, Studio B. Okay, we get two studios here. And if I go to Studio B, you're going to see boop, and you're going to see on the right, we get a different console. So that is the console that's in Studio B at Ocean Way. And I'll break down what these different things are happening, like the EQ, the dynamics, and chambers as we go. But for now, I want to show you how I'm using the reverb of the room for the drums. All right, let's check this out. I'm going to solo out the drums, first of all, and let's just A-B this. That is so cool to me, man. So a lot of the times when I record tight drums or, you know, I get a drummer from Nashville or something to cut a record, they have these small rooms. They're like project studios. So they put up these room mics and the room mics sound like shit. Let's be real. So I just kill those, I mute them, and I'll send the kit through this. And this is how I get my room mic sounds. It's my favorite way to do it. It just sounds incredibly musical. So what we have going on here is we have a reverb mode and a remic mode. Now this is really important. When you hit the remic mode, let's turn on all the mics here. We have a close mic, a room mic, and a room 2. So you can see right here, these are the close mics in the picture, and we can even move them. But be careful when you move them. If you go to the mixer here, just a little tip for you. If you go to the mixer here, you can move these. You can grab all these different mics and you can move them back and forth. But what you want to do typically is keep them aligned. So there's this little button here that has a little clock on it, and you go like that and it's aligned, okay? So for example, if I take these room mics or these close mics and I go really close on the kit because I want it to be really tight, right? But then it gets out of alignment, I can go boop and then it'll align it again. That's really cool, right? No more guessing, no more, you know, I'm at the studio and I'm measuring my thing and then flipping the phase button and all that shit, right? Like you can too, though. You can click the phase right here on the console, which is really, really cool. So just to explain the mic, the remic idea here, you're taking these microphones in the room and you're just remiking the whole kit. So we are getting all of these recording. If I go to this mode reverb, I'm literally just using the reverb of the room. So I have mics in the room and I'm just getting the early reflections in the walls and the sound of the room. And that's what I really love on drums. So let me show you the difference so you can really hear it. Because when you remic, it's completely wet, okay? So here's remic and we'll move the mics around a little bit. And it's so cool to hear the differences in the mics. You're like, oh, if I go to that, it's like gets beefier in the low end and that kick drum, holy crap. And then like you go to the KM54s, it's much more balanced and even sounding. You know, it really is super cool to hear that right away. And it's like doing engineering on the fly. But that is the remic. right? Now if I go to reverb mode, which is what I prefer when I'm doing this with drums, I can just bring up this dry wet and listen to what happens. Pretty cool, right? So the reverb mode allows you to blend in just the sound of the room. We're not getting, for example, the microphone's direct signal. We're getting the room reflection signal. So that's really, really cool. And that's how I kind of amp up like room mics for a drum kit. So that's my favorite thing to do with this plugin. But now let's go into messing with this on some vocals and horns and guitars. And we'll talk about some other stuff with the effects section and all these new features on this, because this is really where this thing shines a lot. Now let's take Ocean Way Studios Deluxe, pop it on some vocals and dial these in. And if you made it this far in the video, please show some love in the comments, y'all. I want to continue to make these videos for you guys. So any support you can give to the channel, that's how I can make more videos for you. That's how it works. And I'll leave a link in the description to get this plugin. It's an affiliate link, so that also supports the channel, so I can make more videos for you. All right, vocals. Let's listen to these. I'm just going to A-B this, soloed out.
I could never do this on my own. I could never do this on my own. Need you when I get home, babe.
Now these vocals are very driven. That is the vibe. That is the style I'm going for, a vintage feel. So this plugin is perfect for that vintage feel. What I'm doing here though is in reverb mode. We already talked about that, but in this one, we have Studio A, and we can switch to Studio B and just hear the difference here.
I could never do this on my own. Need you when I get home, babe.
I prefer this Studio A sound on these vocals specifically, but what I have going on here is I've picked the vocal solo. You can also pick vocal group because we have obviously background vocals and everything else in this, and here's the difference here.
I could never do this on my own. Need you when I get home, babe.
So I like the solo vocal sound for this. It's a little bit tighter. It's not as like, whoa, here's the room. But let's go into the EQ and the console section, the effects section here. First of all, you can get to any of this really quickly by just clicking here. There's an arrow that will close this out, so you can really just hone in on microphone position and what you're picking as source and Studio A or B or reverb, remic, etc. But if I want to see the additional features, or if I want to just quickly turn things off and on, right? AB room, AB EQ, AB dynamic section, AB the chamber section, right? Then I can just turn these off and on right here, which is really nice. But if I expand this again and show you the console, we get some really, really cool new features. This is maybe my favorite part of the new kind of updated version of this, is that we get these two different EQs. First of all, we get the 110, which is a Focusrite EQ, and that's from Studio A console. And then if you go to Studio B, you can see that we get a different set. This is a different console completely, okay? You can also, if you hold down Shift, for example, like let's go to Studio B and let's mess around with some of this stuff. Turn this on and we'll go to 1176 and then we'll go to 110 here. And then if I hold down Shift here, I go to Studio A, right? And then I'll go back to Studio B holding down Shift and I get that same setup. It saves it. But if I don't hold down Shift, here's what happens. Boop, boop, reset. Okay, just something to keep in mind as you're doing this, because you might tweak, and then like go back and forth and go, oh, damn it, where'd my EQ go? And then you got to turn it back on and you're like, this is pissing me off. Why is this doing this? I'm so mad, man. I'm mad.
Stop it. Get some help.
This plugin's an idiot. Just kidding. But anyway, 110 Focusrite EQ, 550 API EQ, and then we have all sorts of dynamics. These are from the actual racks in Ocean Way. They modeled everything. So kudos. Good work, UA. You guys killing it. All right, so check this out. So you got 1176 in the rack, a 670 Fairchild, LH2A, a Crush and Air, which are from the A-Type, the Dolby A-Type, right? Or the A-Type plugin that UAD has released. These are those algorithms popped into this, into the console, super sick. And then you also have a DBX 160, a VCA 160. All right, and then we have the amount here and we have a blend, so we can go parallel on the dynamics, in and out on the dynamics here. Right? I'm just going to turn that off for now. And EQ, right? So let's go back to the 110. As you can see, it saved all my settings as well. So boom, nothing. And then if I go to the 110, boom, I got my mids up, right? So that's kind of cool. I thought that was dope. And then you have a pre-delay and a mix and all this stuff. This is kind of the master section, but these are all master effects. This is going to affect everything after the mics and everything else, okay? So now, my favorite part, chambers. This is awesome. This chamber sounds so damn good. All right, check this out. I'm gonna A-B the chamber.
You and I in a better place. Oh, you and I in a better place. Oh.
So this is the coolest part. If you want dimension in your vocal, and this is just a tip for you guys as you mix, you want the room sound because the room has the early reflections off the wall. So that tells our ear where you're at in a room, right? But then the chamber gives you the tail of the reverb, which makes it even deeper and more spacious. And then we even have a width knob here. So we have 0 to 100. So if you want more of like a vintage kind of sound for your chamber, you kind of take it down and make it more mono, right? Like more closed in. If you want it to sound more modern, you open it up and make it really wide. So this is a really cool, just amazing algorithm, and you get 3 different chambers. So check it out. Here's chamber A. So we get chamber A, D, and W. I don't know where those come from, but you know, you can look it up.
You and I in a better place. Oh, you and I in a better place. You and I in a better place.
So yeah, these are all a little bit different. A is, I think, a little bit more splashy. W sounding the most splashy for me. And then D is a little bit darker, right? So you can just kind of mess around with it, find your sound here. But this is just like the coolest part ever, is adding all these effects from the console. Let's start to smash a little bit with this dynamics. I know it'd be kind of crazy because these vocals are already pretty smashed, but let's just go 100% on the amount and go to the Fairchild. This is my favorite compressor on this. It just sounds very musical.
I could never do this on my own. Need you when I get home, babe. You're the rock, my backbone lover, howling under cover of pain.
Woo! It is very, very musical. One of my favorite things about this plugin is the musicality of it. Insanely good. Lastly, for the effects section is the EQ, which is incredible because you get some versatile options here. You get 110, which is the Focusrite, and the 550, which is the API. So the API EQ, you know, you could tell it's pretty simple, basic, but the Focusrite's a little bit more involved. It's a little bit harder to understand, really. So here you get just the shelf on the low. On the mid, though, you get this kind of low frequency, low mid frequency, high mid frequency, and then high frequency. So these are all just different ranges of the frequency band broken down into 4 different distinct bands. Within that, you have this frequency knob, which sweeps through that band area. Okay, so first you're gonna pick, let's say, low mid frequency. So we're focusing on the low mids, but let's just sweep this completely out and we'll make the quality, you know, tighter and looser.
I could never do this on my own. Need you when I get home, babe.
Yeah, it's a pretty wide band, actually. When you hear it, you're like, oh, that goes all the way up to like 2K or so, right? So just kind of mess around with these. Here's low frequency. This is a bell.
I could never do this on my own. Need you when I get home, babe.
So musical. Like, that's the best part about this, is just like you're tweaking it and you're going, oh, that still sounds so good. And then here's the high band. So here we get 3.3, 4.7, 6.8, 10, right? These are all high shelf frequencies. I'm going to go just up to like 10 and we'll boost this up.
I could never do this on my own. Need you when I get home, babe.
So that sounds really good rolled off to me. So just shelving it down because that's kind of the style of music it is. But that is the effects section. That's the master effects section, and you can tweak and do so much with it. And the last thing I want to show you in this video is the reamping. You know, we're going to take this guitar stuff and we're going to reamp some guitars and throw it through multi-million-dollar facility at Ocean Way. We're going to go through all the effects console and all that stuff. Like, it's going to be dope. Let's get into it. Guitar. That's right, we're going to be talking about some guitars. So this is another really cool feature of this plugin. We have the speakers, which are reamped and remiked into the rooms. So for example, this is Studio B, we're in right here. We have the speakers selected, and you have the PA. And then there's 2 other things. There's a 4x12 cab and a 2x12 cab. Now the Studio PA, look at this thing. Look at the speakers here. They're massive. In Studio A, it's a little bit different, right? I switched to that, and they have these PA speakers here, or you can go to the 4x12. Here's a guitar cab, and then 2x12 cab, right? A little bit smaller. And you can see it's just like re-amping and re-miking into the room, which can give you a lot of realism in your recordings, especially if you are DIing guitars, bass, etc. So I'm going to go back to Studio B where I had it, and let's go to Studio PA, and let's mess around with these guitars. So here are the guitars soloed out, just some rhythm guitars here. Super dope. We got the chamber going on. We got the EQ, dynamics, everything's dialed in. I haven't touched the EQ, by the way. But here, let's bypass it in and out now. Isn't that so dope? So you take some guitars, you DI them, no amp, nothing, right? We're not simulating amp or anything. We're just doing it right through this plugin. And we're going right through the PA. Now let's check out some of the cabs. I think these cabs are a little bit too dark for this sound specifically, but they could be super dope if you had like a drive pedal or something and you were pushing into your DI with a drive pedal, and then you went through these cabs. Check it out. All right, now in the mix, let's hear these different, remiked amps and cabs in the mix.
I could never do this on my own. Need you when I get home, babe. You're the rock in my backbone, lover, howling under cover of rain.
So cool. So this is a really great feature. Obviously, on guitars, you can remic, you can use the chamber, which sounds really dope, and to me, it just sounds like classic. That sounds like a classic tone. Last thing let's check out is the horns. The horns going through this is another one of my favorites. I'd say drums and horns are probably my two favorites going through this room so far. Either of these rooms. This whole plugin just sounds incredible on horns. And probably on strings as well. I would try it on strings. So here are the horns. Let's bypass, and we'll pop it in and out. Incredible. Like, that is so stupid. So I would actually mess around with the reverb mode on this, and I just blend it, right? So let's go from dry, and we'll blend it in. Like, how good does that sound? Now, this was tracked from a friend of mine in the South. He's in the South, and he has a small room, and he's playing his saxes. So he played all the saxes on this. And it's just a small room, no reverb, nothing, no room. And then we're putting it into a multi-million-dollar studio. That to me is like insane. Like, what a world we live in. And that, my friends, is the Ocean Way Studios Deluxe. Hopefully you got some game out of this video. And if you want to pick it up and you want to support the channel, you can click the link in the description, check it out. Also drop a link to Backbone Lover, this song, so you guys can jam out to it. If you want to support and if you want to show love, or you just like the sound of the song. But that's all I got for you guys. So I'll see you next time. Peace.